Well, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everyone. How are we? What did we think of that? 33-24 to the All Blacks in the end. Half time, 2017 to the All Blacks. So what do they get? 13 points in the second half. 13-7 in the second half. 13-7 second half. Cam Roigard, Leroy Carter. Those are the two boys for the All Blacks, I think, at the moment. Welcome, whoever's here. Good to see you. Let me know who's here, where you're from, where you're watching in from. Can you hear me okay? Those are the things that I want to know right now. Greetings, welcome to the live stream, everyone. Post All Blacks versus Wallabies game from Eden Park tonight. Or I should say at 2 a.m. in the morning here in Cancun. What do we all think of that one? Let me know. Isaac, welcome. Thank you for letting me know you can hear me loud and clear. Hope it's not too loud, Isaac. I'm not shouting, am I? People are asleep here. Regan, welcome to the chat. What's your comment there, mate? Yes, I'm proven right. The refs make sure Eden Park record stays intact. I said against the Bokke, now what? Yeah, there were some pretty interesting decisions, weren't there? And I'm a Kiwi, so there we go. Francis, welcome to the chat. Great to have you here. You asked me, Mark, did the All Blacks play well? At times, I thought they did, Francis. At other times, I thought they were pretty terrible. But I thought they played well in moments. As a lot of us expected, they played well in that first 20 minutes of the first half. They got a lot of possession, a lot of territory. They came away with points. But then the Wallabies came back, didn't they? And, yeah, we didn't see much after that. And then, Wallabies go down to 14 men and the All Blacks score at the end. So, yeah, good try, though, that one. Who else is here? Brian. G'day, Brian. Thanks for joining, Brian. Referee, my man of the match. There you go. Yes, once again, we talk about the referees. Be nice to have one game where we didn't talk about the referees. But where I was a little bit perplexed in that game with the referee was that the Wallabies and the breakdowns were doing exactly the same things as the All Blacks, but they were getting penalised. So not sure how that works. Isaac, perfect volume. Good. Thanks, Isaac. Stoked the All Blacks got the win, but the sport of rugby, I'm happy as the Wallabies stayed in the fight. They definitely stayed in the fight, that's for sure, with the lack of position and territory. If only they can work out their defence and how to start a game, I think the Wallabies would be unbeatable because they put themselves under pressure all the time by being behind in games. But they came back well in that back end of the first half, didn't they? They got the momentum back, so that was good. Rugger mad. What's with the held up, mate? Yeah, good defence from Australia, right? How many times were they over the line, the All Blacks, and the Wallabies got that line of defence right? Fraser McWright, I saw get one. Tom Hooper got another one. Welcome, everybody, joining the chat. Great to have you here. Let me know where you're looking in from this afternoon or this evening or this morning if you're in South Africa. Big game coming up soon from Durban. Durban, the Miami capital of South Africa. Mahula. Hey, Mark. Hola. Welcome. Welcome to Cancun. Eben both is here. Hi, Mark. I'm glad neither team got a bonus point. If the Springboks win tonight, they will have the advantage. They will as well, Eben, won't they? Are they going to win, Eben? That's the question, my friend. Francis, Mark, what's your take on Razor as the All Blacks coach? Is he out of his depth? Oh, it's a big question, Francis. How long have you got, my friend, to answer that one? Look, for me, the jury's still out with Razor. I think he's learning a lot, and he's, I think, got to assess some of his other coaching guys that are around him at the moment. Maybe he's got too many people in his ear. That could be another problem. But Let's focus on some positives, shall we, to start off the chat? And I thought that Leroy Carter had a fantastic game for the All Blacks. And boy, Cam Roigard shows how much he's been missed out of this All Black team, right? They look different in terms of their structure and setup when Cam Roigard's in this team. And that really showed again tonight. But Leroy Carter, boy, another good game. I thought he played well against the box, but his defence tonight was huge. I saw him take a couple of really big tackles, and he had some good runs as well. That guy's going to be a very, very good All Black going forward, Leroy Carter. Between him and Cam Roigard for my man of the match for the All Blacks. Let me know who you think the man of the match was. I don't know who the official man of the match was. Ruggamad, Kiwi in Oregon. Welcome, mate. It's got to be, 11 p.m. over there in Oregon. Nice to have you with us. Let us know what you thought of the game. Tell me what you thought of the players. Let's not focus on the ref too much. Tokolosh, the ref is the mum. There we go. John, congratulations to the All Blacks. Yes, a win is a win. Some good things in that game from the All Blacks, I thought, but then also some poor things. So it's very difficult to put together 80 minutes of rugby, isn't it, these days, against all these competition. There's a lot of momentum swings. The All Blacks, I thought, played very well for the first 20 minutes, and then the Wallabies got back into it. And I thought going to half-time at 2017, they really had a good chance in this game. Really had a good chance. Who else is here? Let me know where you're from, where you're watching in from. And thank you for being here. Drop me your questions. Give me your thoughts on the game. Who was your favourite players in both teams? Harry Wilson's got to have a little bit of a look at himself. I think he gave away 3 penalties with no arm tackles tonight. That wasn't good. He did other good things in the game, but I think that cost them. James O'Connor's kicking at times was horrendous, I thought. Still a problem, that number 10 jersey, isn't it, for the Wallabies? And that's one of their weaknesses that's showing through now, I think. Tokolosh, watching from Perth. Beautiful. Perth, Western Australia, the capital of the West. Beautiful part of the world. Crazy NZ, thanks for being here. Let me know what you thought of the game. Isaac, man of the match for me was the medical team for keeping Artie on the pitch. Yeah, he ran into it wasn't friendly fire, was it? One of the Aussie guys came through after the kick and got him. It was accidental, though. There was nothing in that. And Artie came off the worse for wear. But he stayed on the field. John says that Len Ikitel played well. Yeah, he had another good game. I agree with you, John. And he's a fantastic number 12, that guy. I think he just got to get a little bit more expansive in his game. He does a lot of inside channel running as far as I'm concerned. And I'd like to see him use his outside backs a little bit more. He's very good at setting up second phase ball, but he does it a little bit too much for my liking. And I'd like to see him get involved more with Joseph Suaalii and bringing Jorgensen in as well. But yes, Len Ikitel had a good game, no doubt about it. G'day, Martin. Welcome to the chat. Martin reckons that the ref needs a new job like the AFL. Okay, fair enough. Maybe that's a solution for us to send all the rugby referees that are not performing too well to go to the AFL. Tokolosh, most of the 50-50 calls gone against the Wallabies. I agree 100%. I saw a lot of stuff in the breakdown that the Wallabies were doing the same as the All Blacks, but they were getting penalised for it. Yeah, you know that I don't like talking about referees, but I'm going to be honest about it. Rito, welcome to the chat. Rito says, where all the people saying sack Razor now? Well done, the All Blacks win. Well, Rito, one swallow doesn't make a summer, my friend. It was one game, and as we saw against Argentina and as we saw against the Springboks, they weren't able to back it up next week. But yes, it's a win, and it's a win that they should be proud of in some respects, but still a lot of work to do in this All Black team. And I think any New Zealand supporters or All Black supporters shouldn't be getting too carried away after that performance. There's still a game to go in Perth, and let's see whether they can back it up. And just remember, no team so far in the Rugby Championship this year has been able to put 2 wins together on a trot. So the All Blacks have got something to do. Just a Pilgrim, welcome to the chat. D-Mac was excellent. He can also kick. Yes, he got some good goals for sure. And he played okay when he came on after the 26th minute when Bowden Barrett went off with a shoulder injury by the look of it. But he just did the basics well, didn't he? Damien McKenzie, he got the ball out to his outside backs and let them set up play, and he got the kicks over. So, no fault from there. Crazy NZ, sad for Bodie, but it'll be nice to see Love get a run. He'll at least be on the bench. Well, let's hope so. Let's hope that Ruben Love gets on the bench. And if you've been watching my channel for a while, you know that I'm a big supporter of giving these young guys a go, and hopefully it will. Isaac, what was your take on Will Jordan tonight, Mark? Well, I saw him take a very good high ball catch at one stage in the game. He looked dangerous running to the line again, but I still think Jordan should be on the wing and Jordie Barrett should be at fullback. And then we'll see Will Jordan getting back to the kind of form that we're used to seeing him scoring try after try for the All Blacks. But, that's my thought on Will Jordan. But, he had an improved game tonight, I think, versus his last couple of games. Hello, Cindy. Welcome to the chat. Watching from South Africa. Always enjoy your balanced point of view. Thank you. Have to agree. I thought the All Blacks got the rub of the green from the ref, which I thought spoiled the game. Yeah, it was a little bit too one-sided as far as I was concerned, particularly the breakdown. I thought the Wallabies were unfortunate on a number of occasions where they were doing exactly the same thing as the All Blacks were doing, particularly that one with Tupou Vai. And then a minute later, we saw Harry Wilson do exactly the same thing, but Harry Wilson got penalised and Tupou Vai, he didn't. So, just how I saw it. I might be wrong. I often am. Morsbuzz, Razor should have given the job 4 years ago. He's trying to learn the job now. Look how Rassie had it over him with the 40-second substitute. Razor is learning quickly, but New Zealand public is way demanding. Yeah, I think the New Zealand public's like the South African public, right? They want to win every game and won't settle for anything less. So, fair comment. Alan Bastard, MP. This ref was typical Northern Hemisphere ref. Congratulations to ABs, though. Yep, they got a win on the board. Tanner 2, C-Mark, I was right. I predicted New Zealand would have a win at Eden Park and that the Aussies would most likely get a win at Perth. Well, Tanner, you're only half right, mate, because the other game in Perth hasn't been played yet. But, a few people said that New Zealand were going to win tonight. So there we go. I think it was 60% on the poll on my channel said New Zealand was going to win. So all those people were right. Martin B says, bring on Perth. Let's see. Yes, bring on Perth. I want to see what the Aussies can do. Gosh, they're very unfortunate with their injuries, the Aussies, aren't they? Who was it that went off again tonight? They lost someone, didn't they? Oh, Tate McDermott. You got a feel for the guy. Playing his 50th game for the Wallabies tonight. Lasted 18 minutes and he was off. That was a shame. I hope it's nothing too bad for Tate McDermott. I never like to see players getting injured, no matter what team they're playing for, of course. Isaac says, Jody was decent under the high ball. I thought Jordie was decent under the high ball. Jordie Barrett, I thought, was very good under the high ball tonight for the All Blacks. They sort that out a little bit more. Got a feel for McDermott. Didn't look good for next week. No, it doesn't look good for McDermott. Something up on that leg. He was doing the splits as he went down. It looked incredibly uncomfortable. I think he might have done a higher groin injury or something like that. Terrible. Nick White might have to come out of retirement, folks. We might see Nick White back next week in Perth. Who knows? Titanium, welcome to the chat. Good outcome for the Box. Yes, it is. Yep, kept the points in check tonight. Did Australia. Jimbo, watching from Hibiscus Coast in New Zealand. I enjoy your analysis. Thank you, Jimbo. It's nice for you to be here. I enjoy your comments, mate. Very nice. Just a Pilgrim, Les Barnes. I thought Stan had their New Zealand commentary but couldn't find it. They did. Okay. Darren Prentice says a result South Africa needed. Yes, it was, wasn't it? All good for South Africa, this one. Alan Bastard MP says Lonergan did well. I thought he did. He had a couple of little hiccups when he first came on, bit of a knock on there and another bad defensive play. But after that, he was steady, and I think that would have given him a lot of confidence. So, yeah, I agree. I thought he did well. Absolutely. Martin says that as well. Lonergan did well. Yep. Rito, is it time for the love at 10 with Barrett injury? Let's hope so. Let's hope. Well, we don't want to see anybody get injured, of course. I'm not saying it's good that Beauden Barrett got injured. I'd never say that. But, yes, let's hope Ruben Love gets a chance next week. That's what I've been pushing for a while, if you've been watching my channel. Campo 675. Hi, I didn't watch the game, but have been reading a lot about how bad the ref was and biased towards ABs. That's what a lot of people are saying. Campo 675. There were some calls, as there are in every rugby game we watch and talk about, that one could question. I'll leave it at that. Tanner 2, the Rugby Championship is incredibly tense, more closer than ever. Everything is on the line this week and next week. Yeah, it is exciting from that point of view. Even when the All Blacks were up in that first 20 minutes, I just knew, like probably most of you did, that Australia was going to come back into this game. And let's face it, what was it? It was 26-24 with 10 minutes to go, and New Zealand got the try. So it was down to the last 10 minutes again. And like they were against the Argentines in that second game, the Wallabies, they weren't able to pull this one back either. But it was very close. It could have gone either way. I just think Australia needed to have more ball. I liked what they did at the beginning of the second half. They came out, they kept it simple. I think the rain helped them a little bit as well. They were doing really good pick and goes. They were challenging the New Zealand defence in close. And they had some really good phases there, didn't they? But the All Black defence was good. You've got to give it to them. You've got to give it to them. Potato, you're back, my friend. Good to have you here. Well, Wallabies didn't play well, but the ref didn't help them by being so biased. Yeah, I don't think the Wallabies had a good night, actually. I thought that their defensive line was very porous at times. I think that's an area they really need to focus on. And once they get front foot ball and they're really going forward in an attacking phases and multiple phases, they look very dangerous. But I think what we saw from the Wallabies tonight, if I can say so, I think we saw it was obvious they were missing some key players in the Wallabies tonight. And whether you like him or hate him, I think Nick White would have made a big difference to that Wallabies team tonight at halfback and starting the game, and have Tate McDermott coming on off the bench. That's been working really well. They missed, I think, also at fullback Andrew Callaway, because it just allows Jorgensen to go out and do. I thought Harry Potter got caught out a couple of times in the game tonight. And they missed Tom Wright enormously, I think, this Wallabies team, because he brings so much presence on defence in the backline and also on attack. And they're just been so unfortunate with injuries. That's my feel. Tell me what you think. Potato need Wright and White back. Yes, I agree. Rito, should we have Leicester in the midfield next weekend or on the wing for Clark if he's injured? Well, Rito, why don't we put Leicester in at number 12 next weekend and put Geordie at fullback and put Will Jordan out on the wing again? That's what I'd like to see. What's everybody think of Billy Proctor's performance tonight? Let me know about Billy Proctor. He's been somebody that's had a bit of a question mark over his name in the last few games. Tanner 2 was absolutely terrified of Fraser McWright's threat at the breakdown. Yeah, that guy's an absolute freak at breakdown time, isn't he? He's got to be one of the best sevens going around in world rugby at the moment, Fraser McWright. And Tom Hooper's growing on me as well. I'm really becoming a fan of Tom Hooper. I think he's excellent at 6. Really, really good. David Rosenberg, welcome to the chat. Morning, Mark. Morning, all. Got the result right. Now we know what Box have to do later. I think the ABs played really well. Loved the intensity. Yep, they were really intense for that first 20 minutes. And then the momentum shifted, didn't it, David? And we saw the Wallabies come back again. 2017 at halftime. 2 points in it with 10 minutes to go. But the All Blacks were able to close this one out, which is good because it's something we haven't seen from the All Blacks for a while, to be able to close a game out like that. Ed Smith, Cam Roigard, world class, no doubt about it. Yep, as I was just saying earlier, I think it was between him and Leroy Carter for me for the man of the match for the All Blacks. I thought they both played outstandingly today. And I think Leroy Carter's going to grow into being one of the best All Black wingers of all time if he stays fit and healthy and gets selected by Razor. That's my opinion. DGB, did Hooper pass his HIA? I don't know on that one. He went off. When did he go off? In the last 8 minutes. He went off in the 72nd minute, Hooper. So does anybody know whether he passed the HIA? He might be out for a couple of weeks, which will not give the Wallabies any good news, that's for sure. Enwer Van Goens. Good morning, Mark. Greetings from a Springbok fan from The Hague in the Netherlands. How do you rate Fabian Holland as lock for the All Blacks? I really rate him, and I've been saying that a lot in my videos. I think he's fantastic. And thank you to everybody in the Netherlands for sending out a great export to New Zealand. He's welcome in our country. He's playing really well. I like that he's starting the game again. I think that's a big thing for Fabian. I didn't think he played that well when he comes off the bench. But now that we've got Patrick Tuipulotu back, I think that's good news for the All Blacks. And Fabian Holland can get on starting the game. So did we miss Scott Barrett tonight? I don't think we did we? Not an easy watch. No, it wasn't. I was waiting for the game to get really going and into flow, but it didn't really do that, did it? That was my feeling. What do you think? Did you feel that throughout the game, that it wasn't really getting into a flow? Tanner 2, Leroy Carter is an excellent replacement for Sevu Reece. Sevu who? Yeah, he is more than a excellent replacement. Yeah, look, I think Leroy Carter's only going to get better and better. That was his second game, and he stood out in both of his games so far for the All Blacks. So give him a little bit of time. I think we've seen enough from Leroy Carter to know that this guy's going to be something special if he keeps this kind of form up. Rito, what do you reckon about our bench tonight? Well, I'm still not convinced on this All Black bench at all. But one of the things today we saw that, first of all, we had DMAT coming on early because of Bowden's injury, so that kind of took a little bit away from that. Then we saw Tupaia coming on and going on to the wing. I thought he did some good things when he came on. And then the front rows were replaced around 60 minutes. So there was a bit of, I don't think the bench management was really in Razor's favour tonight because of the injury situation. That's what I'll say about that. But I'm still not 100% convinced about the impact of the All Blacks bench. You know, they won the game at the end of the day today, but I think that came down to a bit of individual brilliance again from the likes of Geordie Barrett giving that pass to Tupaia and then on to Roigard. So what else we got? David Pound, welcome to the chat. Cam Roigard was outstanding. Yes, he was. Jock made some crucial mistakes. Yes, he did. Also, Carter was awesome. Looking forward to the Perth test. I felt the game wasn't flowing and found it boring at some times. Yeah, I was too. That's probably a bit harsh saying it was boring, but I just think that there was not that same kind of on the edge of your seat intensity that we saw like against the Argentines and the Wallabies, right? And I think because the Wallabies were struggling to get into the game, you know, they didn't have a lot of possession. I don't know what the final percentages were of the possession from the Wallabies, but I think if they'd got more possession, and the rain probably didn't help because these guys like throwing it around. So there's not making excuses. I just think these were some of the things. Whereas the All Blacks, on the other hand, you know, they look better with ball in hand at times, right? Martin B says the Australians attacked well when they had little ball and defended well when on the line with some great hold-up, but midfield was absent and the ref running the game. Yeah, I agree with that. And I think there were some good points made by, I was watching the Australian commentary, and Michael Hooper made some good points about Joseph Suaalii, and I think he's hit the point here that Suaali's got a lot of work to do defensively in the game to learn how to do that defensive work. But I also made reference before that I think Len Ekitau needs to do more running towards his outside backs and opening up the outside backs, because you've got absolute weapons out there like Jorgensen and Corey Toole, and we had Potter as well out there today. But you find Ekitau running back into the inside channels a lot and setting up that second phase play. It's good to do that every now and again, but he's doing it every single time. And that's something I'd like to see this Australian team try to do a little bit more of. Alan says Dunganu's a talent. Yeah, he looks like it. Haven't seen a lot of the guy play, but some people have reminded me that he's very good, and he looks sharp for sure. Yep, I'd like to see more of him. Potato. Wallabies attack gets me so hyped, but they need to get their rucks faster. Yeah, I think that's what I was waiting for in this game. I was waiting for the Wallabies just to hit their straps. And they didn't really do it in their backs tonight, did they? I thought their forwards had some really good pick and goes, and they got up the inside channels a couple of times. Angus Bell, yes, Angus Bell did what Angus Bell does, but there wasn't enough through the backs for the Wallabies tonight. But I give All Black defence a good rap on that one, because a number of times they shut them down very quickly, and Geordie Barrett was instrumental in that. Another big defensive game from Geordie Barrett, I thought. Peter Pan, welcome. It's been a long time since I spoke to Peter Pan. Picardi always makes me nervous when reffing a bot game. Yeah, okay, fair enough. Les Barnes, next game in Perth could be interesting. Wallabies play very well there. ABs will have to lift their game. Last time I saw Australia play in Perth was they got thrashed by the Springboks. Okay, they'll have to lift their game. But yeah, let's hope it's a dry ground and it's a sunny day and we can see this Australian backline. I just wish they didn't keep getting so many injuries. It's so frustrating, this Wallabies team. They're always having to pick themselves up from injuries. And I know that other teams are getting injuries and all the rest of it, but they just seem to be really bad. Rito, how good to see Taylor back tonight. Yeah, I thought Cody Taylor added value, but the scrums were pretty even, no? I didn't see any team really dominating the scrums. Got a bit messy in the second half when the replacements came on, and I thought that was another area where the referee was blowing up the scrums too much. We weren't getting the game flowing at that stage. But yeah, Cody Taylor, good to have him back in. Actually, Cody Taylor's another guy I'd put out there for a long-term captain of the All Blacks. I think he's a great leader as well. Sports Unfiltered, why do we not get a bonus point when we score 4 tries? Good question. Send all your queries to World Rugby, my friend, and see what they say to you, if they even respond to you. Ross D says both sides played uninspiring rugby. I think so too. Yeah. Other than that 20 minutes in the first half where the All Blacks had a lot of possession, a lot of territory, the Aussies weren't able to even get their hands on the ball, and the All Blacks did put on points on the board, so you've got to give them credit for that. But at other times it was uninspiring rugby with interjections from a ref blowing his whistle a lot. Alan says Joe Schmidt needs to be called out not using the backline. Yes, I think so as well. But maybe Joe Schmidt saw in that game against the Springboks and All Blacks that there's an opportunity to get through the All Blacks inner defensive line. I think that's what he was thinking. So that's why we saw Len Ekitau doing a lot of running. That's why we saw the likes of Harry Wilson and Tom Hooper doing a lot of runs, and Solokai Lotto as well. I thought that was part of Joe Schmidt's plan, but he didn't count on Roygaard being back in this New Zealand team with his defensive. Ethan Hooker's here. I thought you're going to be playing in a few hours, my friend. You better get ready for the game. What's up, brother? Yeah, what's up, brother? I've got WhatsApp. Yes, Ethan. Welcome to the chat. David Pound, what would you like to see the All Blacks improve on for the Perth test? Also the Wallabies. Well, I think the All Blacks still haven't got their backline sorted out, have they? In terms of their attacking. Like, they look good on occasions tonight, but I still saw some kicks going up to Neville Nobody at different times, and I think their kicking strategy is still not working. I like the way Leroy Carter gets involved. He's one of those hungry wingers that goes looking for the ball, bit of a Cheslin Colby type of guy. And I like wingers like that. So I think more involvement from Leroy Carter. He got involved in the game tonight, but he's very, very good. And the Wallabies, the Wallabies need to tighten up their defence. They've got to sort out this first 20 minutes or so of games. We've seen every team they've played against so far being able to nail them in the first 20 minutes. And it must be very frustrating for Joe Schmidt. But I think some of that comes down to their number 10 issue, and I think James O'Connor showed tonight too many mistakes. I can see why he's starting. I can see Schmidt's strategy, but I think they need to be rolling the dice with maybe Tom Liner or Tane Edmund. That's my feel on the Aussies and what they need to improve. Huge question here. If there's one country to beat us at Eden Park to break the hoodoo, who would it be? I thought it was going to be the Wallabies, but not with this team. I think if the Wallabies had Tom Wright at fullback, Nick White at halfback, and they had a decent number 10, they would have given us a better go than tonight. Transformational edge, best result for the Box, but I do feel a number of calls would have made it a BP for at least for Aussies. Yes, agree. Potato. Mark, what did you think about Taniela Tupou? I thought he played better tonight. Got to give credit where credit's due, and he didn't give away penalties from the scrum. Saw him a couple of times in open play. Saw him do a couple of good defensive work plays as well. So I thought Taniela Tupou had a good game. Kudos to James Slipper, 150 caps. What a milestone. Only 2 other players in World Rugby have done that. Fantastic to him. And a shame to see Tate McDermott going off after 18 minutes on his 50th cap for the Wallabies tonight. That was a bit of a downer for me. Nolan, what do you predict South Africa versus Argentina? Well, Nolan, if you quickly go and watch my video on the preview of that show, I basically laid it out for you, my friend. I think the Box forwards are going to set up a platform for them to be able to win that game, but do not ever underestimate this Argentine team. So there you go. There's my prediction. If the Box forwards can get on a roll and get some good quality ball. Yeah, if the Box can do the first 20 minutes like the All Blacks did tonight and get that momentum in the game, I think that'll set them up well. But this Argentine team, as we all know and we all say, they can score tries from anywhere. I don't know what the weather's like in Durban today. Can someone let us know? What's it looking like in Durban? Is it going to be sunny? Transformational edge. Are you sponsored by Gilbert, Mark? No, I'm not. Why do you ask me that? Oh, the rugby ball on that side there. No, there's a story behind that rugby board, Transformational Edge, but they are not a sponsor of mine. I don't have any sponsors, actually. David Rosenberg, regarding the bonus points, scoring at least 3 more tries than the opponent. Yes, true story. Tanner too, very lucky to have Cam Roygaard, who is potentially an elite kicker and an elite runner and a very fast pass. He is, yeah. And he had a bit of stamina tonight. He got through, 75 minutes plus? He's only had 1 game back from injury where he played about 30 minutes for Manukau. So I thought he did very well in terms of game time tonight. Isaac says, surely we're all Argentines now. I don't know how our South African friends will think about that, my friend. Rob Rocks TV, hello from China. Really enjoyed the game. Did you, Rob Rocks? What did you enjoy about it? Tell us. Let us know. What areas of the game did you enjoy? And whereabouts in China are you, my friend? Let us know. David says it's 20 degrees and sunny in Durban. Beautiful. And then Ethan says it's cloudy in Durban. Okay. And then someone else says it's 23 in Durban with 70% humidity. Okay. So we've got a bit of everything in Durban today. Let's hope it's going to be sunny. Give both teams a fair go. Alan says, hopefully both Carter, Gordon, and Mark Nanakwana Tumasi return. Marky Mark's coming back. Yeah, well, is he going to get in the team? That's my question. You've got Dylan Peach to come back. You've got Jorgensen to go back on the wing. You've got Potter, Dunganu now. You know, Marky Mark can't expect just to come back in and walk into this Wallabies team, yeah? And nor should he. These other guys have shown their loyalty. They've stuck with Joe Schmidt. They haven't gone chasing the big paycheck at Rugby League. So I think there's a lot of story around this Marky Mark thing. Yeah, that's my opinion on it. Rito, what comeback will he help us beat South Africa? With comeback, will he help us beat South Africa? Oh, would have, could have, should have, Rito. He wasn't there, so we got beaten soundly. I think there was too many problems against South Africa that one player in particular wouldn't have made that difference. That's my feeling on that one. DGB, Satiti has lost his edge. Yeah, haven't seen him play to that standard of last year, have we? And interesting one, because it might be a move to put Simon Parker at 8 for the All Blacks and maybe bring Satiti off the bench. What do you think of that one? What do you think of Peter Lakai's performance tonight coming on late in the game? Do you think he made much of a difference or not? Hello, Ray Clark. Welcome to the chat from the top. We had leadership out there a la Ardi. Yes, I thought we noticed the difference tonight with Ardi leading the team. Yep. So are we saying that Scott Barrett shouldn't be the captain? Is that what we're saying? I'd like to know everyone's view on that. Rob Rocks TV, I'm living in Shenzhen. I'm happy they didn't kick the ball away all the time. Yes, okay. Shenzhen's an interesting place. Used to go there a lot. Didn't kick the ball away all the time. Still saw some bad kicking, I thought, from the All Blacks at times in this game. But saw the same from Australia. So someone said it was an uninspiring game. And I think others have agreed. Hello, Donovan Stein. Welcome to the show. Jasper Wiese is still probably the best 8 in the world at the moment. His current game is absolutely amazing. Well, he's definitely up there, but there's some very good number 8s in the game. You're going to be facing one today, yeah, and Joaquim Oviedo. He's a very, very good number 8. So let's see that match up today. I'm really looking forward to that. Ethan Hooker, we are laser focused. We're going to play our hearts out. I'm sure you are. No question. No question. Ray Clark, Holland and Tuipulotu, clearly our form starting locks. Yeah, Patrick Tuipulotu is brilliant for the All Blacks. And you just feel a sense of, what is it? You feel a sense of security when he comes off the bench, Patrick Tuipulotu. I do anyway. And it's better having Fabian Holland on the field to start the games. That's what I mentioned before. Ray Clark says, Roygaard, clearly the difference. Yeah, he played extremely well. He just gives the defensive line something completely different to look at, doesn't he? And, he did a couple of those dummies a couple of times and nearly got through the gap. He was there present. And for all of you who watch my show on a regular basis and you hear me talk about Finlay Christie, this is exactly the difference, right? You have the talent of Roygaard who can do multiple things way better than what Finlay Christie can do. And that's the difference. So it's not me just being a hate on Finlay Christie. It's pointing out the key differential skill sets of the two players. And that's why Finlay Christie he's not one of the best 4 halfbacks in New Zealand. That's what I've been trying to say. Valentino Reddy, welcome to the chat. Hello, everyone. Hello back. Where are you from, Valentino? Let us know. Shane, job done, results-based, new captain and still, yep, job done. That's what we can say. A little bit uninspiring at times, but job done. They won the game. Kept the Eden Park record intact. I have a theory maybe England have the best chance of beating us at Eden Park, given that the weather is much more similar to ours. Yeah. When last did we, here's a trivia question for everyone. When last did we see a game at Eden Park with the All Blacks where the sun was shining for the whole 80 minutes? There's a question. Ray Clark, Proctor still underwhelming. Well, I asked that in the chat a little while ago. No one seemed to answer it. What does everybody think about Billy Proctor's performance again tonight? Ethan says it's partly cloudy in Durban. Okay. Take your brolly just in case. It might rain. Cameron says they didn't get a bonus point because they didn't score 3 tries more than us. Exactly right. And Cameron says, why does Ruben Love not getting his chance? Well, you'd have to send an email to Razor about that, my friend. There's been thousands of us talking about it and asking why isn't Ruben Love getting more game time? And we don't know the answer because we keep seeing same old, same olds. Trent Jenkins, Wallabies need to stop playing softball and poach a fly half from league. Yes. Are you thinking of Nathan Cleary in particular, are you? He could be the guy that sets the Wallabies apart. All Blacks went direct instead of shoveling shit sideways. Yeah, there was a bit more direct running tonight. I think that was a positive for the All Blacks for sure. And coming from a little bit deeper. But again, the Wallabies defence is not the Springboks defence. And that's something that we've really got to bear in mind. And I can just see it over the next 24 hours. We're going to see all the New Zealand pundits talking about this was a great comeback win by the All Blacks. This was fantastic. And this is what we need to do. And they looked way better on attack. We're going to hear all those things come out. But the reality is that probably the weakness of this Wallabies team is their backline defence. So the All Blacks probably looked a little better than what they were, I think. That's my take on it anyway, because we saw it in Wellington when that box rush defence comes up, the All Blacks didn't have any ideas on how to get through it. That's my view. Derek, welcome to the chat. I'm a little underwhelmed by the lack of running onto the ball by the forwards, very static. Which team, Derek? Wallabies or All Blacks, mate? Not sure who you're talking about. Ray Clark says, start Larkai, I say. Really? Well, who else votes for that? Who wants to see Peter Larkai starting for the All Blacks? I don't. There's a response. Tainui Jeffries. Hi, Mark. Happy the All Blacks won, but unconvincing All Black game. Nah, Proctor needs to go. Ioane. No, don't mention that name again. Or Lest, I'm just joking. Yeah, I've been told off for saying that Billy Proctor needs to stand down while we see some other options. I'm not saying, and I'll say it categorically here so it's on the record, I'm not saying get rid of Billy Proctor. I'm saying give some other people a go in that 12 and 13 position to see what they have to offer. Put Lester Fainganuku at 12. Put Leroy Carter at 13. Caleb Clark at 11. Will Jordan at 14. Geordie Barrett at fullback. Try some new things out. And then see how they look compared to having that Geordie Barrett and Billy Proctor 12 and 13. Isaac says, I thought Will Jordan had a bit of tunnel vision tonight. Yeah, maybe he did. He seems to have lost a bit of confidence in my mind, Will Jordan. I don't know what you think about that. He just seems to have gone off the boil in the last few games. And I honestly think that he would prefer to be back on the wing than at fullback. I really believe that. That's just my gut feel. Auntie Pat's at the A&E, so pleased to get some good news about the All Blacks. We were so disappointed in the game against the Box. Rico is still better than Proctor. Don't hate me. Well, first of all, I'm sad to hear that you're at the A&E, so I hope whatever reason you're there for is all going to be okay, and take my best wishes, please, for that. And I'm not going to hate on anybody for saying that they prefer Rico Ioane. Everybody's entitled to their opinion on my channel, and you're welcome to yours. So thank you for sharing it, and good luck at the A&E. I hope everything goes well. Shane, Tupaia is better at running straight for a 12. Yes, he is. But again, I'll stress here that it was the Aussies' defence, right? So Joseph Suaalii has a lot to learn in the defensive line. And when Len Ekitau came off, we saw a different look in the Aussie backline, and Tupaia made a couple of runs that looked pretty good. So let's just be fair and realistic about that. Yes, he looked good, but what was he up against and what stage of the game was it at? But the All Blacks had a good win. They won the game. Blah, blah, blah. Let's move on. Shane, play Geordie at 15. He's not a line breaker, but a fine player. He's a very good fine player, Shane. And the reason I say put him at fullback is because how many times have we seen Geordie Barrett do saving tackles in the last line of defence? He's got a huge boot on him, so he can clear the ball out and exit us well from inside our own 22. And he can run better from fullback than he can from number 12. So all the benefits are there. And he's played 15 for the All Blacks before. They spent 5 minutes showing a highlight package of Geordie Barrett playing at 15 against the Wallabies tonight before the game started. What more do you have to say if that's not a signal? Ray Clark says, I love Tupaia and Whainganuku. Please, Russie. Russie's not going to pick those guys, mate. Razor might, though. Ethan Hooker, October 18th, 2020 against Australia. Yes, there you go. Valentino, afternoon, mostly cloudy with temperatures reaching 24 to 25 degrees and northeasterly winds at 23 to 25 kilometres an hour. Evening, cloudy with temperatures around 21 to 22 and northeasterly winds at 4 to 17 kilometres an hour. There you go, everyone. I've given you the weather report for Durban today, if you're interested. Thank you very much for that, Valentino. Tainui Jeffries, yeah, even Geordie at 13, D-Mac at 10. No. We've been with that D-Mac thing at 10 before. Not working. Bring Ruben Lovin to 10. That's my view. Derek, in my opinion, the Wallabies have the same issue we have at defence, lack of line speed and getting in front of other teams' face. However, I give big props to the Wallaby try-line defence. Yes, they were outstanding on the try-line defence again tonight. And they've done that in their last few games, haven't they? They've really put in big defensive efforts. And what I saw again tonight was when you got the All Blacks coming at you with multiple phases of play, and the last one there I saw was 10 phases of play, and the Wallabies held them up over the line. Very good, very good work. Isaac says, I like Razor and want him to do well, but he needs to start convincing us before the next World Cup. Yes, he does need to start convincing us, but it's not so much convincing us. It's about getting the right team in the right positions to play. I think we've sorted out now with Leroy Carter. He's a good one. And Cam Roygaard at 9, he's a good one. And then everything else has got a question mark on it, in my opinion. David, it seems every team other than the All Blacks have figured out how to deliberately hold up tries over the line as a strategy. Yeah, there seems to be a lot of that going on in this rugby championship. I agree with that, David. Absolutely. Valentino, hi Mark, I'm from South Africa, a Springboks supporter. However, before we returned to international rugby, I supported the All Blacks and enjoyed. Good on you. Thank you. And there's plenty of Kiwis that support the Springboks as well, my friend. So it's a reciprocal arrangement. Tanner 2 says, and that would force the right wing, left wing combination of Leroy Carter 11 and Jordan to 14, which is something I don't want to see. Okay. You don't want to see it. I want to see it. And Razor doesn't. So we're not going to win either way. Shane says, D-Mac is soft and clumsy at setting our backline up. Look, a lot of you think I'm a real critic of Damien McKenzie, but what I saw tonight was he went up for a couple of high balls. He caught the ball, but the Australians swamped him. And I've talked about this in previous videos about the size of Damien McKenzie under the high ball. I would have liked to seen, again, Will Jordan or Geordie Barrett taking responsibility of that high ball, which they did on a couple of occasions, and it did it very well. But leaving it to Damien McKenzie, I think, is just asking for trouble. And I thought McKenzie did okay in getting the ball out tonight. He wasn't trying to do anything spectacular unless in the last couple of minutes of the game. So I'm not going to be overly critical of Damien McKenzie tonight. He kicked the goals for New Zealand. That's all you can ask. Got a good record from the kicking team. So, yeah. David Rosenberg. I see there is a David R. Do you have the same surname, buddy? Okay. No, I do not, says David R. Okay. Glad we figured that one out, guys. Shane, greater kicker speed bump on defense. I have no idea, Shane. That's a very cryptic message, my friend. Do you want to try and put it in English for us? Intel, welcome to the chat. What is the weather like in South Africa? Well, we just had the weather report. It's looking good in Durban, 22 to 25 degrees. Bit cloudy at the moment. Could be sunny by game time. Bring your SPS 50 and get ready for a great game. Tanner says, because Jordan at 14 and Carter at 11, we're missing Caleb Clark's high ball at 11. Yes, we would. That's true. But if we had Caleb Clark at 11 and we had Leroy Carter at 13, then we wouldn't be missing it. And we could put Will Jordan at 14 and Geordie Barrett at 15. I'm going to stay with that. John says, Cullum Harkin at 15. Cullum Harkin, did you watch the Taranaki against Wellington game today, my friend? Harkin got absolutely slaughtered. He scored a try in the end, but come on. Josh Jacob played brilliant again for Taranaki today. I'd like to see him in the All Black picture somewhere along the lines. He's a brilliant little number 10, that guy. Hope he gets a chance. What else we got? Sorry, John, I'm not going to agree with Cullum Harkin at 15, mate. AJ Lamb back in again and Rivers Rahana. Not sure he's ready yet. I think you're planning for the future, and that's fair enough, having a look at some of these guys. So why not bring them into the greater All Black universe and give them some exposure, John? That's what I can agree with, mate. Very good. David R. asked the question of us all, does anyone think the HIA is being used as an extra sub-play to get rested players back on the field at crunch times? Was there really a head issue at 71 minutes when Australia swapped players while under pressure? Well, David R., I would say to that, no, I don't think it is, because that Tom Hooper came off and he was probably one of the best performing Australian forwards in this game, and I don't think that was a strategic intent at all. That's my take on it. So no, I don't think teams are doing that at all, David R. That's my opinion. John, all good and understandable, Mark. You're welcome, John. Just my opinion, mate. Like I agree with you in terms of bringing players in to give them exposure within the All Blacks' greater environment. Absolutely. Potato, Mark, I'm heading off. I can't think more about this game anymore. Okay, mate. Enjoy the rest of your day or night or morning or wherever you are. Thanks for joining. Appreciate everybody who's joined the chat. Jaco Robertson, hi, how are you doing today? Very well, thank you. It's now 2:53 a.m. here in Cancun, and just getting started, just getting the rugby day ready to go. Do you know what I did before the game today, everyone? Just to let you know, I watched the replay of the Curry Cup again, Curry Cup final. Wow. What a game that was. Talk about refereeing in a game. There's a good one for all the Lions supporters. Jacko, I'm doing good today. Good to hear, Jacko. David R., thanks for addressing that. You're welcome. That's why we have the chat. We're here to talk to each other. Valentino, and enjoyed Grant Fox, etc. I support first the Springboks, second the All Blacks, and third the Wallabies. That's a pretty good order. If you're a Springbok supporter, nothing wrong with that. Mark Wainwright says the All Blacks need consistency. Mark, I'm on your train, mate. And let's see how they back this up now in Perth, because no team's been able to win 2 games in a row yet in this year's Rugby Championship. So that's going to be a big question mark for the All Blacks. And let's see what happens with Australia bouncing back from this one. David, wow, didn't know Cancun was that far ahead of the US West Coast. Only 12:54 here. Yeah, we're a long way ahead of you guys, David. It's mid-morning here already. Time to go for a run, nearly. Ray Clark, let's string together a win 2 tests in a row scenario. Yes, let's try and do that. We all want to see that, of course. Auntie Pat's from the A&E. The first game against the Box was some excellent AB play and spirit. The second game was a horror show. Yeah. So what are we going to get next week in Perth, Auntie Pat's, from the All Blacks? Are we going to get a horror show again, or are we going to get some AB spirit and excellent play, as you put it? That's the thing with this All Black team. There's no consistency. And as I said earlier in the chat, I think there'll be a lot of All Black pundits in New Zealand in the next 12 hours talking about the All Blacks are back. They've won at Eden Park again. Well, my friends, one swallow doesn't make a summer, and they need to back it up and play consistent rugby, and perhaps a little bit more inspiring than this game. Yako, I'm South African. Yes. Hello, John. Welcome to the chat. Well, wasn't that an unconvincing win? Yes. Yeah. John, if I remember rightly, mate, you made a comment on my channel today about thinking the All Blacks were going to do this pretty easily. Is that right? A win's a win, though, mate. Take it and move on. Try to do better next week. Consistency. Hello, Jimbo. Welcome to the chat. Is rugby union well known in Mexico? I get asked this a lot, don't I, in the chat? Yeah, it's growing, Jimbo. It's growing. Mexico is ranked 38th in the world at the moment in the world rugby rankings. Has a lot of competition here from football and American football. Soccer, I meant. Soccer, football, and American football, two big sports in this country. And in this part of Mexico, where it's very hot and very humid, it's a tough game to play, but there are a couple of teams around this way. Still a long way to go for Mexico when it comes to rugby and a lot of other things. Mark Wainwright says, Eden Park, definitely their fortress. Well, there's something about it, isn't there? Maybe it's the weather, Mark. Maybe that's got something to do with it. Maybe if we can actually turn on a fine sunny day without any rain, other teams might have a chance. Maybe that's our secret weapon. Maybe the weather's our secret weapon. Shane reckons this is Artie Savia's house. Okay. Yep. Fair enough. Ray Clark, we're far from back. Wallabies 2 points behind, less than 10 minutes to go. Unconvincing, underwhelming. Yes, I would agree, Ray. So let's wait and see how the Kiwi pundits spin this one, because I'm really interested to see what they say. Yako, next year is the World Rugby Nation Championship. Yes, I made a video about it, Yako. Go and check it out, Yako, if you haven't seen it. I talk about the Nations Championship and whether or not we all think it's a good thing. Let me know if you think it's a good thing, Yako. Do you want to see that competition next year? You're going to follow it? Are you interested in it? Hello, Eugene. Welcome to the chat. Seen you before. Savia as captain, tried and tested, common sense. Yeah, it seemed to work. Did we miss Scott Barrett tonight? Anybody want to make a comment on that? Not only in captaincy, but in general play. Did we miss Scott Barrett? John, more from the heart than the head, Mark. Yes. I hear you, John. Sorry, mate, I wasn't giving you a hard time. Valentino, Artie Savia for All Blacks captain too. He proved in World Cup final, especially after the captain send off. Yep. David R, no, we did not. No, we did not. What? What do we not do, David R? You made another comment. Perth grounds are very hard underfoot. I lived there for 4 years. I did too, David R. Yeah, but if you watch the South Africa game against the Wallabies at Perth, you'll see that the ground was very wet, my friend. Very wet. Yako Robertson says the USA versus the Springboks World Rugby Nation Championship final in 2026. I don't think that's possible, my friend, because the USA are not going to be in that competition. That's my understanding. They have to first qualify from the second tier and move up, and that can only happen, I think, in 2030. Someone will probably correct me on that, but that's my understanding. So no chance next year of seeing the USA versus the Springboks in the Nations Championship final. Valentino says, also missed out in that order, fourth Argentina and other Southern Hemisphere teams thereafter. Yes, Springboks versus Argentina Rugby Championship. Marcus Rugby Union, well known in Mexico. I talked about that. Ray Clark, AB form locks in order. Yep. What did we all think of Tupou Vai tonight? Was that a good performance from him? Let me know in the chat. Yes, I was saying no, we did not miss Scott Barrett. Okay. Sorry, David. Now I understand. No, I don't think we missed Scott Barrett tonight at all. Jimbo says, Sevilla is captain for me. Scott Barrett is a fine player, but he was not missed tonight. I agree, Jimbo. Yep. Cody Taylor's another one that I throw out there as potential captain for the All Blacks. I think he's a good leader. Thought he made a difference again tonight for the All Blacks when he was on the field. Miss SB. Okay, miss Scott Barrett. Some people miss Scott Barrett, some people don't. Valentino says that Artie is a inspirational period for the All Blacks. Yes. Eugene asks, your view on no championship next year due to AB tour to South Africa may be good for the rivalry, but is it good for World Rugby, excluding Australia and Argentina now the tournament is on high? We pull the plug. Eugene, there's going to be a competition next year called the Nations Championship where Argentina and Australia will both be involved, playing against teams like South Africa and New Zealand. Fiji and Japan are also going to be in that competition along with all the Six Nations teams. So we will see more top-tier rugby next year than probably we've seen in a long time. So I don't think that the All Blacks tour to South Africa is going to hinder the level of rugby we see next year. That's my take on it. Ray Clark, form locks in order. Holland, Paddy, Vi, Barrett, a distant fourth. Yep, fair enough. Thanks for sharing your view on that, Ray. Did we miss Scott? We played pretty much as expected, although I think Roy Gard was definitely the difference. Yeah, Roy Gard, Leroy Carter played very well for the All Blacks, I thought. Our kicking game is still very suspect. Auntie Pats, experimenting against the box made Razor look like an idiot. Did he? Did it? What did he experiment with? He was forced to make changes through injury, as far as I know. Auntie Pats, tell me what I'm missing. Mark Wainwright says, Mark, what is the All Blacks winning rate in Perth? I have no idea, Mark. I couldn't tell you that. Maybe somebody else knows in the chat, but I don't know that one off the top of my head. I'd have to do what you can do is Google it. But have they played much in Perth, the All Blacks? A couple of games. They didn't play while I was living there. Jacko Robertson, Rugby World Cup is Australia 2027, 2 years away. Yes, it is 2 years away. In fact, right now, 2 years right now, we'll be talking about the Rugby World Cup games in Australia. Jordan C., welcome to the chat. Nice to have you here. Hopefully, if Bowden is out, they'll have guts to start Ruben Love in Perth next week. Fingers crossed, mate. I hope they do. Auntie Pat says, Roy Gard is fast becoming one of my favourite players. I have many favourites. That's great. Yeah, Roy Gard's good. No question about it. Neil van der Walt, Geordie should be at 15. It's his natural game. He's forced at 12. Yes, couldn't agree more. Mr. van der Walt, I agree with you 100%. John, did we miss Scott? Sorry, I meant to say no. I agree. Yep. A lot of people are saying that we didn't really miss Scott Barrett tonight in the game. James Andrews, g'day. Accessible, humid, informed. Congrats, you're unique. Yeah, my mother used to say that all the time, James, all the time. I'm unique. Unique up on me. Sorry, it's very early in the morning here. I'm a little bit sleep deprived and delirious, so I hope it doesn't distract from the show. Eugene, All Blacks have a winning percentage of 42% in Perth. Holy moly. Okay. It sounds like it's another Wellington ground for the All Blacks. That'll give Australia that'll give the Wallabies some inspiration, won't it? 42%. John says, sorry, boys, when Barrett went off and DMAC came on, we started going backwards. John, you should have joined earlier, mate. I was actually giving Damien McKenzie a few pats on the back for tonight. And if you've been following for a while, you know that's not a very regular occurrence. But, hey, look, he kicked a few goals over and he got the backline away on a couple of occasions. But, yeah, there were some other things that weren't so good. Valentino, we the Southern Hemisphere are the strength of World Rugby, 9-10 World Cups. No disrespect to the Northern Hemisphere, but 1 to 10 doesn't cut it. And the likes of Portugal should be given more competition. Yeah, well, that's really interesting, Valentino. I could spend the rest of the night talking about that. But be careful, because this autumn series against England, Ireland, and France are going to show you something about Northern Hemisphere rugby. I'm pretty sure of it. David R. is off to bed. Great rugby chat. Keep it up, Mark. Thank you, sir. Good night. Thank you for joining us. And watch out for my full detail review video on the game tonight. It's coming out in the next couple of days. Henzy Penzy. John Timmy being for long like that for a while now. Yes, I think we're talking about Damien McKenzie, are we still? David Rosenberg says, Mark, if you're still in Cancun during the World Cup, you're going to be up all night. Ouch. Well, David, that's a very good point, my friend. And it's also giving me inspiration to make sure I save up all my pesos and get to Australia to watch the World Cup and make videos for you all from there. So that's my goal. Yeah, I don't want to be sitting in Cancun for the Rugby World Cup. That won't be very nice. It'll probably end in divorce as well. Neil, the ABs get held up a lot because their players are selfish and chase glory. Whoa, that's interesting. I did see one try absolutely squashed tonight when Quinn Tupaira, I think it was, came back on the inside and he had two players on the outside that could have walked over and scored a try. That was one thing that came to my viewing tonight. Neil, on that one. John says, I know, but we were firing before DMAC came on. Roygaard had taken the pressure off him and Bowden wasn't going too bad. Yeah. I think I talked about that in my preview video, right? That Cam Roygaard was going to show a different dimension for this All Black backline, and I think that happened tonight. Tainu Jeffries, in terms of completing in the World Cup, a shorter, lighter All Blacks team is not going to go well. Could we start pairing All Black team that can give it a go? Bigger, heavier, taller forwards. Mate, we've got a pretty big forward pack at the moment. Look at the size of the likes of Tamati Williams and Lomax, and Ethan de Groot's a big lad. Fabian Holland's a big boy. Simon Parker's a big boy. Where are we lacking the weight and the height, in your opinion? Let me know. I'm interested to hear this one. It's an interesting discussion. Okay, what else have we got, everybody? Let me know. We'll go for a few more minutes. I'm going to get some sleep before the box game starts. What do we got? 7 hours until kickoff. Neil says the high ball wouldn't be left to DMAC if Geordie played at 15. How many high balls did Dan Carter and Aaron Cruden have to take? Very good point. Yes. I like that. I'm going to write that down. I'm going to use that. That's a very good point. And another reason to have Geordie at fullback. Joshua Hendricks. Good morning, Mark. How are you doing? I'm doing well, Joshua. 3 a.m. I'm still awake, my friend, talking about rugby. So what can be better? How are you going? Getting excited about the game today? Looks like the weather's good in Durban. 7 hours just now. It's going to start just now. It's going to be a lacquer game today. Can't wait. Mark, you're asking me again. Was it you that asked me the prediction for the Box versus Argentina game today, or was it somebody else? Box versus Argentina. If the Box forwards can set up the platform early on, then I think the Box can win it, but never underestimate the Pumas backline. They can score tries from anywhere. If the game starts to get opened up like it was against the Wallabies at Ellis Park, it could be a nightmare for the Box to control. But I think the Box are going to have too much for the Pumas today. That's my take. Mark Wainwright. What do you think? Joshua, Wallabies made a lot of unforced errors. They did. They did. Referee made a lot of unforced errors too, Josh. Just throw that out there. Yeah, they did. A lot of unforced errors that were compounded by the refereeing decisions, I would say. Neil, Mark, I like your take on Carter at 13. Yeah, why not? And this is what I keep going on about with Razor. Why doesn't he try these things out? Because if you play around with the combinations and you finally get one that really works, then you can build on it. But he's not doing that. So, I'm not saying to get rid of Billy Proctor. I'm saying try something else there for a couple of games and see how they go. And I think Lester Fainganuku at 12 and Leroy Carter at 13 would be really good. John thinks Geordie at fullback. Yes. Mark Wainwright says it's going to be a tough game. I think it is. Yeah, they're all tough games right now, aren't they? Doesn't matter whether you're Argentina, Springboks, New Zealand, Australia. They're all tight. Neil, Russi constantly uses his as an excuse to rotate players. Yeah. Look, my take on this is if you're a coach of a rugby team, you have the right to do whatever you want to do. And we have too many of these coaches listening to their fans and listening to the media and the press and the rugby union administrators and all the rest of it. If I was Razor, I would never have accepted this job unless I sat down with the New Zealand Rugby Union and said, I'm going to coach this team the way that I want to coach them. We're going to win the next Rugby World Cup, but you're going to let me try players out. I'm going to do my own selections. We might lose a few games. We might find a really outstanding team as a result of it, but that's the way I'm doing it. If you can't accept it, I'm not accepting the job. That's what I would have done if I was Razor. Third Eye, welcome to the chat. Haven't seen you before. Carter at 13 popped into my head partway through the game too. Wherever he plays, he's looking solid. Yeah, he is. Very solid. Actually, he's only played 2 games for the All Blacks, and that's the only 2 games of rugby I've seen Leroy Carter play, and I'm a big fan already. Big fan. David, tell you one thing for the English referee that did Eden Park versus Box was terrible, especially in the last minute. Some of the decisions were terrible. Ask Russi. Yep. Okay. Tainui, do we need to be building up Josh Lord? Satiti looked more like a 7 today, perhaps Parker to 8, Via or Samapini Finau at 6. Yeah, look, I think Simon Parker at 8 would be good. I didn't see a lot of Simon Parker today, though. Did you? Like, he was there doing a good job, maybe, but I didn't see a lot of him. But yeah, he's bigger and he could be good for 8 and bring Satiti off the bench. Josh Lord, yep, absolutely. Again, we've got Josh Lord, we've got Sam Dowie, Patrick Tuipulotu, Fabian Holland, Tupou Vai. We've got enough locks. We need to play more of them and give them experience in this atmosphere. With the force changes and being able to maintain momentum in this game, maybe Razor will be more flexible going forward. Let's hope so, Eugene. Let's hope so. I don't really see it, though. He's only tending to change his selections when he's got an injury concern, and it's being forced on him. We're probably going to see it again next week with Caleb Clark, and we might see it with Bowden Barrett. So if we do see Ruben Love in the team, we're going to go, oh, he's finally picked Ruben Love, but it's probably going to be through forced injury. The AI underdog pick. Still live, mate. Yes, I'm here, mate. Still live. Still alive, I should say. 3:16 a.m. Still going. Loving rugby. What have I watched today? I've watched Curry Cup. I've watched a couple of NPC games. I watched the Stormers thrash Leinster. What else? Taranaki played Wellington and thrashed them. And the All Blacks against the Wallabies. It's been a day of rugby. John says, yes, Leroy, a great player. Georgia refs show up, English refs. Do they? Okay. Yep. Oh, yeah, Ash Gilly's good. I give you that. Well, he was good in the game that I watched, yeah. David said the All Blacks deserved to win that game. Was just referring to ref. The Georgian ref last week was excellent. Yes, I thought he was good last week. I've seen Party ref excellently as well. I just don't think he had a good game tonight. It's very difficult for these refs. What a job to have. Like, you're on a hiding to nothing. Tai Nui, yes, I think we need to bring in players from the wider group for the next game. Yeah, I think we do, but same old, same old. Same old, same old. What are we thinking about Josh Lord, everyone, and Satiti? Wallace Satiti hasn't really found his form from the last year or so, has he? David says, Mark, would you ref? Not in a million years, David. Not in a million years, mate. I don't even like talking about refs, so who would become a ref? Nico Els. Hey, Nico, are you a relative of Ernie, the great golfer? Probably not. Congratulations, All Blacks. O'Connor cost Australian 2 penalties against Australia's second half. We're not penalties, but win for the All Blacks. Yeah. James O'Connor didn't have his best day with the boot, and he's done that on a couple of occasions now. Harry Wilson caused a couple of important turnovers and penalties because of his no-arms tackles. A couple of things Australia did that didn't help their cause. Someone thought the ref had an exceptional job. Okay. Pat Star Deluxe, welcome to the chat. Nice to have you here. I'm with you 100%. Love at 10, Geordie at 15, been saying that a lot. And I think Tupai is strong enough to start at 12 or 13. Okay? Yep. I'd like to see Lester Whanganuku at 12 and Leroy Carter at 13, but I'm with you on Love and Geordie. Mark Wainwright, too many late calls from the ref. Yeah, there was one particular part of the game where he let the All Blacks play on with a penalty advantage. They went 25 yards down the field, and then he blew the whistle and said, nothing's coming of this. Well, they'd already gone 25 metres down the field, and he said, nothing's coming of this. And then he brought them all the way back into their own half to retake the penalty. I thought that was a bit strange. Nico, I wish I was related to Ernie, but no. Okay, fair enough. Sorry, mate, it's just my late night humour coming in here. Can't even call it humour. Powell 777, great show. Thanks, Mark. Thank you, pal777. Nice to have you here. Nice to have you here. Third Eye says, Satiti still shows he can carry hard. I don't think he's playing bad, just not quite back to last year's standard. Okay, fair enough. Yep, I'll take that. Let's see how he goes next week if he's selected. I will agree with that, Third Eye. Let's give him a chance. The AI underdog pick says, man, how good is Quinn off the bench twice at Eden now? You weren't with us earlier, my friend, on the chat where I said that when Quinn Tupaia came on, the Australian backline was very much decimated in terms of injuries and tiredness. And I think Quinn Tupaia, while he did a good couple of things, I'm not denying that. I think he was made maybe to look a little bit better than he was. That was just my take on that. But yes, I'm not going to knock him too much. Joshua, Damien McKenzie must learn how to kick up and unders. Yeah, or don't do it. Joshua, that's the other option, right? David, Mark, I think you mentioned this to me yesterday, but are you doing the live show after the Box game? David, I am 100%. I'll be here at the final whistle of the Durban game. So come and join. I'm sure there'll be lots to talk about. In fact, I'm going to wrap this up in about 9 minutes' time so I can get some sleep and be awake for that game, David. So got 9 minutes left, everybody. Give me all your latest thoughts and opinions. John says Devon Flanders for number 8. Yeah, okay. That could work as well. Devon Flanders in the future. David Rosenberg, Mark, why you are bloody good and fair. Game needs more people like you. Yeah, but not as a ref, mate. I'll sit behind the camera. I'm okay with that. Jimbo reckons, I'd like to see Ruben Love start at 10 next week. You are right, Mark. Let's see how he goes. Yeah, absolutely. Imagine Cam Roygaard with Ruben Love. Imagine that. Oh, I've got to send a message to Razor. How do you get a message to Razor? He doesn't watch my channel. Oh. AI underdog pick. Fair, mate. He's been a good impact lately for sure. Okay. Yep. David, excellent. Look forward to it, mate. I'll definitely be there. Good one, David. See you after the Springboks game. If you're on the chat now and you're going to watch the Box game, I will be doing a live after that game, so I'm sure there'll be plenty to talk about then. We'll put in another 90 minutes for that one. I'll keep this one to 90 minutes, so we've got 7 minutes to go. David, Mark, do you know why the last 2 games are home and away? No, I don't. I don't know. Maybe somebody else knows, David. Does anybody else know why the last 2 games are home and away? We've got the Pumas playing, of course, in Twickenham. And we've got the Wallabies and the All Blacks playing in beautiful Perth in Western Australia. If you haven't been to Perth in your life, I suggest you put it on your bucket list. Get there once time. It's a beautiful part of the world. Get down to the Margaret River, sample some beautiful wines. Places like Bustleton and Albany, and down the bottom to Esperance and up to Monkey Mire and all the beautiful places up north. Lots of things to do in Western Australia if you ever get down there. Tai Nui says Parker was quiet. Most of the All Blacks played with cautious reserve. The pressure on them showed if Robertson doesn't make rotational change for next game, then he's clearly not the man. Okay. Well, he's showing changes through injuries at the moment. That's what he seems to be doing. Whereas Joe Schmidt, he's been changing 49 players so far in the Wallabies. Parker should have confidence to pick it up and go harder. I agree. Third Eye says, otherwise 2 teams would have extra home games, right? Yes, that's true. John, good on you, Mark. I hope I'll be there. I hope for the Box game. Keep up your good work. Hope to chat after the game. Okay, John, thanks, mate. Good to have you here. See you then. There was one part where Quinn couldn't use his numbers outside, but instead ran it in. Decisive moments, just needs to sharpen up. Agree. That's what I saw as well. He bombed a try there for the All Blacks. Valentino ready, and because Razor doesn't, he's at a disadvantage. Therefore, the great innovation of yours for us fans to be involved in the game going forward. Yep. David would love to go to Perth, but my wife hates spiders, snakes, and then there are sharks. I'll stick to Cape Town. David, how can you say that? Are you going to go for a dip off the marina in Cape Town there with the great white sharks, mate? Come on. It's a bit rough. You tell your wife that there's plenty of bigger sharks off Cape Town than there are off Perth, although there's some big sharks there. I've actually seen a shark when I was swimming at Cottesloe Beach in Perth many years ago. One of the most terrifying things I've ever experienced in my life. Mark Wainwright, Damien McKenzie was a good choice to have on the team today. Okay, that sounds to me like, Mark, you're saying he played himself okay today, and on other occasions he hasn't. Yeah, look, he wasn't too bad today. I'll give him that much. Didn't cost us the game today. Let's put it that way. Hello, Driss. Welcome. Disaster game, All Blacks continue. Okay. Do you want to elaborate? Razor is not the man for the job. I don't see improvement, and even worse. Yeah. I said this earlier, but I'm really interested to see what the the New Zealand press and media say about this game. I can't wait to see the likes of JK and all these guys talking about the All Black comeback. They're back on track. John, yes, I'm a supporter of Cody Taylor for captain of the All Blacks. I think he would be a good choice. Yep. G'day, Matt. Welcome to the chat. Artie, another great performance, and as captain, thoughts? Yep. Much better than what we've had there, I thought, Matt. Is he the right guy, though, longer term? I don't think so. I think Cody Taylor might be a really good captain for the All Blacks. He's got a lot of respect in the team as Cody Taylor. Artie, though, he did the job tonight, right? I think Australia did a lot of things to beat themselves tonight, though. Johan, welcome to the chat. Well done, New Zealand. Yes, a win's a win. 33 points to 24, leading 2017 at halftime, and a 2-point game up until the 70th minute. Not convincing, my friends. Maxa 500 plays Minecraft. Do you? Okay. Who did you want it to win today? I wanted Rugby to be the winner today, and I don't think it was. It wasn't an exceptionally exciting game. So, best team on the day wins. I think the All Blacks were probably the best team, just. Yep. They probably deserved to win by 2 points, not 9 points. That's probably my take on it. John, we missed Scott trying to change the ball down at the ruck. Didn't think we placed enough pressure on that. Yep, the ruck's still not good from the All Blacks. But let's give credit to the opposition here, because I thought Harry Wilson, Fraser McRide and Tom Hooper did very well in the rucks today at times. They also let themselves down at times. Yes, All Black men. Okay. Yep. Have I missed any comments there that someone's written? David says, Mark, the Sharks have left Cape Town, port and starboard. Okay, mate, fair enough. Tristan's joined us from Belgium. Welcome, Tristan. Great result for the Springboks. Pressure would be even bigger on the Boks if the ABs had got the bonus point. Yep. The All Blacks weren't good enough to get the bonus point. There we go. Definitely lead the whole way. Think we left 4 points out there. Still a credit to Jonas boys. Solid contest at the Fortress. Yep. Yeah, it was a 2-point game with 10 minutes to go. Then they had a yellow card and the All Blacks got a try. That was it. Driss says, Satiti powerful, missing for Test international level. I prefer Larkai. Stop with brothers Barrett now. Try Ruben Love at 10. Driss, with that kind of comment, you're getting a lot of support on this channel, my friend. A lot of support. Chris Lord, welcome to the chat. A lot of people have been talking about Josh Lord. Might be a friend of yours. Cam Roygaard is exactly what the All Blacks needed. How good is Leroy Carton, Caleb Clark? Team looks so much better. Wallabies are so exciting to watch. Yeah, can't disagree with any of that. And I'll tell you what about Caleb Clark's father singing the national anthem with his son crying? That was quite emotional, wasn't it? I haven't seen that before from any team. Has anybody ever seen that before? Father and son interaction during the singing of the national anthem? That was special tonight. That was a memory that you have for the rest of your life, right? That was really good. That's what rugby's about, isn't it? That's real heart and soul stuff, that one. Driss says, the bad All Blacks beat the bad Wallabies. Box and Pumas are the two best teams in this rugby championship. Well, Driss, before we get ahead of ourselves, my friend, wait until the game, okay? You're getting a little bit ahead of yourself. Just remember, all teams have not won 2 games in a row at the moment. So let's see what happens in Durban in a few hours' time. Okay, folks, I'll tell you what, I'm going to close the chat up now because I'm going to get some sleep before the Springboks game. And Lucas, you suck. Oh, that's not very nice, Lucas. Why do you say I suck, mate? Don't come here with big comments like that without backing it up. Anyway, I'm going to go to bed for a few hours and get up and watch the Springboks game and do a live chat after that. So if you want to join me after the Box game, by all means, come along. We'll talk about this beautiful game that's going to happen in Durban in a few hours' time. Thank you for being here on this chat. Appreciate you all, except for Lucas. You're not a nice person at all. But everybody else is fantastic, and that's what this channel's all about. So have a good morning, good rest of your day. I'll see you in a few hours after the Springboks game. Good luck to all the Springboks supporters and the Argentine supporters. And thank you for tuning in to my channel. And I'll say good morning from Cancun in Mexico. See you, everyone.